I've got everything messed up. That should be good. That should be good. All right. So the GoFundMe itself does not violate our terms at this time and will remain live. That is the most important line in this email. That is the most important line in this email. The GoFundMe itself does not violate our terms at this time and will remain live. So let's dispel that. Let's dispel that notion right now. There is nothing violating GoFundMe's terms in this GoFundMe campaign. I know there's a lot of people very excited out there that this GoFundMe might get shut down or something like that. I think that would be an unwise move for anybody involved, and no one wants to see that. We have had a very good working relationship with GoFundMe in running the campaign on their site. We've had no complaints against the campaign itself. Still to this day, no complaints, and they've been very helpful with us. So I want to be very clear on that. It is the donor names. We asked for clarification on this right away because, they said it violated rules 8 and 12. We asked for clarification. They said it's the donor names. The donor names, which violate term 8 and or term 12, or are clearly not representative of the donor's information that will be refunded. So many of you are saying that the joke names, some of the joke names that got refunded are very mild, like even saying Ron Toye will not win or something like that. It doesn't matter. Apparently, the names have to either be anonymous or a name representative of the donor or something like that. So you have to check that out. And they asked me specifically. So you know how I am loath to do this. You know how I am loath to do this. They have asked me to no longer encourage offensive names or names that would violate Rule 8 and Rule 12. I don't know that I was encouraging them. Maybe that's the perspective of GoFundMe or someone else. But by my reading the funny names, I guess that they thought that was encouragement to encourage harassment or abuse. I don't think that was the case. I thought they were funny, so I just read them. So anyway, but they have asked me to not encourage. So I am going to specifically discourage the use of offensive names or anything that might be a violation of GoFundMe's rules. I'll bring this back on screen in a second. Let me make you, I expressly and humbly discourage any potentially offensive names or any names that may be in use or in violation of the terms of use of GoFundMe. Okay. I said I will no longer encourage it and I will actually discourage it. All right. Now, the other thing I said to GoFundMe was that due to the nature of the internet, I expressly and vehemently disclaim any liability or any knowledge or any involvement in any further names that do come up that would be in violation of the rules, because I have a feeling that after this, there might be some nasty names that come through, and that those names, which would not be from you guys, I would presume, and not be from me, certainly, that those names would be a false flag attempt on the campaign. And I suggested to GoFundMe that any attempts at trying to use those false names to, cast a pall over the GoFundMe, and to suggest that any of those names would be a false flag operation from people who very much want this thing shut down, and that I expressly disclaim any of those, and I expect GoFundMe's full cooperation and their deference to give us the benefit of the doubt. Now, what it does mean is that any names, and let me read some examples of these potentially violative names, because they gave me a list. You know how I love lists. any of these potentially violative names. The pocket change underneath Monica Rial's Gunt, that's a potentially violative name. Can't do that. Lemoyne's West Nile flavored Conslut bathwater. I definitely see how that one could be offensive, and you should not send in any donations with that name. The Festering Groin of J. Sean Lemoyne. Groins can't donate, guys, so this one cannot. That can't be real. That's clearly, this is clearly fake. Water bottle that gets Monica wet because Soye can't. And again, I don't know how a water bottle would get a bank account or a credit card sufficient to donate to a GoFundMe. So we definitely can't do any of those names or anything like that. So I am discouraging and no longer encouraging any sort of names that would violate the rules. I do not want anything to jeopardize this campaign. And again, as I said, go to GoFundMe, I expect that there may be some people out there who try and do these names and as a false flag attempt to cast to try and get the GoFundMe campaign in trouble. And I thoroughly support and vehemently support GoFundMe's efforts to refund any of those fake names. We don't want anything to jeopardize the GoFundMe. That's never in the intention of the campaign. And we certainly don't want to be violating the rules of the GoFundMe.